All right. Well, welcome to another lesson. This will be the last one for this week, and it is lesson 75. And let me just move this up here. Just get this. You can't see what I'm moving. It's just a little sub screen anyway. But okay. So 75 for the third last week or weekend, should I say, of the semester. We are continuing with airtime. It's a really long lesson, as you can see there. We got to get through 31 slides, and it comes off or from, should I say, Next Level Radio. Chapter 9.3 live reads 331 to 333, and it is based off the radio guide or the RAB guide to writing great radio copy. Excuse me. It's not a way to not a good way to start, but okay. Okay, and you can go and get the PDF here just by clicking and then downloading the copy over here at this link. But just to obviously kind of disclaim there that whatever is in the studio is directly extracted from the actual PDF itself. So, very cool. So again, in my opinion, very cool lesson because it's a step guide to writing good copy, really good advice as well. And then what we'll also do is, I found this video in terms of I'd say not the quality or the credibility. It's a really simple obviously video, a kind of practical video that I'm gonna play out for you that shows you this guy that obviously knows how to or has been writing copy, etc., for however many, I don't know, years or whatever it may be. And he will show you short video, what I say, how to start your word processor, open up Word and start writing copy because the exercises that we started with in the previous class, right? So lesson, should I say, require you to write that copy, and that's from I think it was exercise 9 or activity 9A, right? Okay, so what are we going to do? Developing a great creative radio campaign is crucial to getting results for your client, but the big question is obviously how do you do that? So there are 10 steps, and within these 10 steps, there are going to be sub steps as well. So again, once we get to about, let's say, five or so, depending on how long the video is, I might just stop it there, make it a part one, part two, or we'll take a breather and we'll watch the video, go back to step 6 to 10. Okay, so step one is obviously finding out what the client wants. I know that this is a little bit of a rinse cycle repeat of what we have said already in the previous episodes. Well, I mean, they might as well be episodes, right? But in the previous lesson, but we really need to emphasize like it's important that we don't just do a job, but we do the right job and we do a good job, right? So what quantifies that or qualifies that for it being true or qualifies that statement for being true is one, obviously do what the client wants, and making the client happy means that we did our job in this particular situation, which is writing copy and producing the ad and obviously scheduling the ad out uh, and doing the whole, like I said, the whole mini life cycle that I covered in the previous lesson, very important, right? So, okay, many stations and agencies make the mistake of not listening to what the client actually really wants, and then goes through the whole like rigmarole of, oh no, no, they've done this, done that, come back to the client. The client says, "What is this? Like, for real, what is this? This I'm unhappy," and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't necessarily have to be a reason that they give you. The reason that they're unhappy means that you need to go back and you need to go fix it, right? Okay. So without understanding the real reasons behind why a potential client wants to go on air, right, in terms of the product, etc., and we just said there some the actual tangible parts of the execution, well, the end product, should I say. The commercial campaign, no matter how humorous or clever, is obviously just a waste of time, right? So, two, when we want to find out more as we are prepping and we're trying to, put this together, we ask the right questions, right? So, client needs analysis. The needs of the client is this is an analysis process. We find out more about what they need, what they are looking to do, what they want the advert and the campaign or the actor activation, etc., to do for them will obviously help us now to come up with great copy, right? Okay, and obviously a great campaign. So let's ask some questions. Is there anything that you would like to feature? Would it be maybe it says there maybe your clients just got in a huge load of widgets, which are, as far as I know, those toys, right? And they need to sell them fast. So it might be a certain item that has a high profit margin, and it would make sense to push that product. So they got something for they went and bought in bulk, maybe a whole bunch of sunlight liquids, I don't know, and they got a really great price, and they want to be able to sell that out so that they can make obviously like a larger, as it said, a larger profit back, right? So we want to find out what it is they want to do. Do they want to promote an event? Do they want to promote a new store? Do they want to, again, these things that I've mentioned before, right? So who is your best prospect? So who is the best potential person listening in our demographic, but a customer in their demographic? You understand? The question will allow you to get into demographics and find out who they are targeting. Obviously, if it's male or female, if it's both, if what let's say if it's particular to a race or more predominantly like an age, what type of person is this in terms of the income, professional education, etc. Should that be relevant, right? So not all of these questions are relevant, right? To having them answered to be able to move forward, but it might be an either or and or, right, situation where you're asking these questions and being like, okay, if you represent more than one station, then these questions can help obviously steer your client to the right position on that particular radio dial, right? Okay, or frequency dial. So we continue and ask more questions. Why do customers come to you? Right? So them. So if we have to use an example, particularly like a good example are clothing stores, because there are so many. And you have to agree with me that quite a lot of the stores blend in. I'm saying that they lap over one another in terms of what they can offer. So you might find something nice. I know Fishini is a woman's store, yeah. I've never gone to no, I've never actually gone to go buy something from Fishini, but I know that my mother constantly visits that, so it seems like they might have things for maybe older women. I think that's more like a Queen's. What is that word? Oh, not that word. That shop. It's a Queen something. Queensland. It's not Queensland. Like something something. I don't know. I'm not okay. Let me just leave the Queen something example out. But I'm going to take things like so we'll take let's say younger brands. There's obviously the local brands, and there's the H&Ms. I think Cotton On is an international brand. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. But these types of brands may overlap in terms of maybe style and different types of products, types like in terms of shoes. When they say overlap, they might look kind of similar. You might get a little bit more of a higher end in one store and a more Pret Porter, range in another store. Like for example, Pick and Pay clothing is really it's a really great store to find some great items. of clothing or whatever apparel more is more like it because it's a holistic thing as well, right? So anyway, sidebar, right? So we'd look at, for example, those, with clothing in particular, where you can see that the competition might be something that might not make them purely unique. You'd have to obviously ask a couple more questions or investigate further more about this client to really say, okay, cool, like this is what I want to focus on to make sure that I'm advocating this particular brand's identity, and then being like, okay, cool. I would like to, like I see an angle here, I see an opportunity here. Let's focus on this here. A lot of, let's say, clothing stores as well. I'm carrying on about the clothing stores, but they get rights to certain labels as well. So, for example, there's like a certain store might get rights to a certain kids clothing label, or for example, like a cinematic. So, for example, a DC or a Disney or a Marvel or whatever it is, which we see quite often. For example, like the Pick and Pay and the Edgar's clothing, you'll only find that when I say original, so proper, like no bootleg type of stuff, um, products will be sold in those particular stores because they have the rights to sell them, and so these things make the client a little bit more easier to distinguish between them and the rest as well. Right. Okay. So, all right. So I go back to, like, why do customers come to you? These are the reasons, right? Again, like a large range of Maybelline products that are really the best at the best price is a good reason to visit a particular store on, that's on an ongoing basis. If you are someone that does use makeup, and does like the Maybelline range, you can find it anywhere, but perhaps maybe Clicks sells it at a much better price, right? So you might always go to Clicks for that. Okay, so why do customers come to you? Keep in mind that perception is reality, and that you should consider getting different viewpoints from coworkers, family, and friends to be able to build that kind of, like, I'm gonna use almost like a composite client, profile. So what is your single greatest competitive advantage? Do you have positioning statements, right? So once again, what makes them more powerful in terms of positioning, but maybe not just in the physical sense. Positioning can also mean how they have positioned themselves in the market itself, right? And makes them stand out. So here I'm going to keep using examples because we want to be able to look at how we can actually really ask ourselves questions that are difficult to answer. If you have to look at petrol stations, so people that are fuel providers, we get engine, we get Sail, not Sail, Shell, engine. Who else is there even left? I know there's the more startup South African ones as well. But I would say that those two are the big. I know Total used to be one very long time ago. I haven't seen a Total anywhere for such a long time that I really have only ever passed, and I drive a lot, Engine and Shell. But now let's say and Shell and Engine do, for example, advertise quite a lot. It's not that they need to, because petrol costs the same everywhere you go. The quality of the petrol is questionable, obviously, because Shell will have a certain um uh man, I don't know. They're not going to use this. It goes through a process, hence why we have different petrol stations or fuel providers, right? Um, and they're leaded, unleaded, and they're diesel, etc., etc. But also, there's the obviously the quick shops, right, that have become a staple in people's everyday life. So stopping by, getting a cool drink, getting a pie, getting coffee, getting this, getting that, which has replaced the old school, obviously, like shops, these little obviously cafes, that we used to have. Again, positioning statements like what who do you like what do you like more? It's very difficult for the average person to say, well, I feel that my engine runs better, my car runs better on engine fuel. No, you don't really. It's somehow or somewhere you decided that this was a better position. Um, sorry, um, the position that the particular brand had found its way in your life. So, for example, you might find that engine is more premium, as a brand than, let's say, Shell, or the other way around, whatever it may be, or there was better advertising around it, or there was better reason to go there because it helps along your everyday, etc., etc., etc. Let me not carry on because I have carried on. All right. So, what do you feel is your unique selling position? So, unique selling position standing for USP, or acronym down. Unique selling position or point is a marketing concept that allows a company to be different, right, from themselves, different from their competitors. Okay. So more questions here to ask. What is your primary business image? What do you want to make sure that that mission statement that has basically produced an image for how I say the mini world around you views you, interacts with you, buys from you, is happy with your product, etc. Every single business service, or I say professional brand, will have a business image, a profile that they need to constantly be in line with in terms of what it is that they're doing as a business, right? Okay. So, what's the biggest misperception that you feel people have about your business? Sometimes this misperception can be used in, well, the commercial to overcome objections. So, for example, um, there was there was some news on McDonald's, very not there was not great PR around McDonald's just recently. I think it was, and it wasn't with the food, it was actually with the culture, the employee culture, right? Something terrible had happened around then. I'm not sure whether a woman died or whatever it may have been. But anyway, oh no, there was a woman that died based on, this was extreme, right? So uh, on, I think it's E. coli, is that the word, right, for the disease that she claims, right? So it wasn't with the employees, I'm sorry, it was the customer, right? That she claims she had gotten ill from eating at a specific McDonald's store. The only reason it made it into the news is that other, not many, there were few cases that also had experienced, contracting or whatever it is, E. coli, which is obviously, it's like a death disease, uh, um, from perhaps maybe the food that they were eating at this particular McDonald's. Now, that McDonald's, saying McDonald's in general, need to come out. They need to make press statements. They need to do this. They need to buy their way through customers' trust again. People are scared, man, because I mean, it never mind a fruit burger or stale chips, like, or thinking or whatever, like all the theories we have about what McDonald's food is actually made of, whatever and how it's made. No one really cares if it tastes fine for them, they're fine. But when it threatens your life, man, then people are going to be like, yeah, we'd rather have nothing. We can do without McDonald's in life. We can go to Burger King, KFC, Chicken Licker, and whatever. McDonald's cannot do with you in their lives, without you in their lives. And so they would have to go. What will follow soon, not now because it's too sensitive, is a like a re kind of like uh They would have to relaunch, not relaunch McDonald's, but have to like relaunch a big marketing strategy and pull in some new things, toys, enjoyments, celebrities, this, that, whatever it may be, right? And so advertising, and in this case, one of the outlets being radio, could help them do that, right? For example, perhaps customers think a popular brand will automatically be too expensive, or perhaps the potential customers feel that the location is too far away, when in reality it's only 10 to 15 minutes drive. Something that I've seen working with Burger King. The first thing that they said to me, which again I might have mentioned, but it was a long time ago, right? So it's good enough to mention again. Is when they said they when we had a conversation because they've been our clients forever, then and they said to me, well, what do you think about Burger King? And I said, I don't know what to tell you. Like it's just it really is just another fast food place. I don't want to say anything quite offensive. And they said, what do you think about the prices? And I said, your prices are immensely expensive. That's the because I have bought from Burger King once before in my life, and I was like, eh. I mean, the burger was fine. It was not great, and for that amount of money. And then he said to me, you know what? A lot of people. This is what we obviously found in terms of customer research and all that type of stuff, like we do focus groups, etc. Is that they think that Burger King is a premium brand when it comes to costing. But the truth of the matter is, like he said to me, so let's take our whatever they call this. I think they call this a Whopper or whatever, right? Let's take the example of the Whopper, and the Whopper costs, I don't know, 69 Rand or 49 Rand. And then he said, let's look at the other fast food places. So your Wimpy, your McDonald's obviously being their biggest competitor here. And for example, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and said, look at those prices. They are exactly the same. Uh, and so I said, that's cool. I mean, that's interesting, very cool. Is And he continued to say in that same sentence or that same interaction, saying this is why we are doing big marketing partnerships with media like radio stations, television. I'm sure you've seen like Burger King has kind of been in your face for the past year or so. Really pushing like individual products, the Tabasco chicken, something, and this, but definitely pushing on the fact that it costs so much money, right? The perception that someone has as a customer is very hard to break, right? Without saying, "Oh, look at them and look at us," and painting out the obvious, because you can't really do that in advertising. But anyway, my point is, we help you along as a station, as media, and well, we can only do and hope for the best with our best efforts being put into that. Right. Okay. Help position your client. So, uh, putting that up so I can just read that. Most clients on local radio expect a measurable response, investment on your station, whether it's an increase in phone calls, more traffic to their store, or simply hits on their website. Advertiser wants something to happen, which is fair. They're paying the money. And I said to you before that in the previous one, we abdicate from return on investment, but we do promise output because that you're paying for something, right? Okay, so output, not okay. Again, return on investment is quite quite probably an output in other situations, but these types of examples, as we've seen here, are quite basic and more expected as outputs that one would see from a marketing or an advertising campaign, right? All right, now that you have already done your client needs analysis, use that information to effectively help you or your clients separate themselves from the competition with proper positioning. Know the competition, obviously, right? Who truly competes for your client's business. And there may be three women's shoe stores in town, But if each targeted at a different group of women, older women, uh, uh, um, richer woman, whatever it is, kind of again high-end fashion. They're all still women, but we obviously look at how we create a message that is important and will make an impact on each one of these groups, right? Anyway, except for some minor overlapping, they can be said to be non-competitive, which is true, right? Again, the big thing that really sets, for example, let's say clothing, etc., apart is obviously the label and the price. Like these are two things that drive our decisions when we are buying like some piece of clothing. Again, pants, dresses, shirts, jerseys, jackets, shoes, socks, even, whatever, I don't know, right? Okay. So help your client towards the right position, help position your client, right? However, if there are three athletic shoe stores and each carries the same brand's shoes, then all three compete directly with one another. And what you need to do is write down each competitor and a list of their perceived strengths or selling points, such as their discounts or their competitive prices, their excellent service. Like for me, it's a lot of people obviously want that immediate convenience. So can I buy online? Will you deliver for free? Maybe if I buy online, I might get a little bit cheaper as well, that type of thing, right? Superior quality, variety of goods, convenient locations and hours. To know thyself, apply the same criteria when evaluating the perceived position and strengths of your client. So, just as you did for competitors, remember that it may be difficult to get an accurate description of the perceived perception of your client from your client, right? Why? Because the client is biased, right? And that's fine. They really love their product, they love their service, they love their company, they love what it does. They think it's the best, but it's not to say that they don't know any better. They know better, but they need to be very like a big cheerleader of their own brands. Then they really need to understand that when we do sit them down, or they do sit down in terms of different analytical processes, like we need to also know that we might run across some healthy or a predictable bias, right? Okay. So do an informal survey with your friends, family, and coworkers, trying to get a good sense of how the client is actually being received by the public who are, I'll say, I don't want to eat there. I don't like I don't I never like I've never liked the service. It's too slow. For example, when it's called fast food, I need it quickly. Like a line is one thing, but take care of your business quickly. That's really what um for the longest time. It's much better now. And I don't know what they did to fix it. But for example, I like KFC. I love me some KFC, right? But what really put me off, I suppose maybe to my benefit, because less fast food the better, was that I would always drive past KFC to see how long that particular line was, both inside and out, right? And then I would be like, from past experience, if you get into the obviously the drive-through, right? Man, I would never understand, but I knew why. I knew why. I never understand why, but I knew why. It would take so long, and people don't have time. It's called a drive-through for a reason, and I mean it's called fast food for even a better reason. And the truth of the matter was, and you know what was happening? They didn't have enough chicken. No, no, you didn't have enough chicken ready made. So the management, or like I say, the product line was faulty. And we've had many problems with KFC just in general. For food, for chicken, which can kill you. I'm not laughing, but come on now. Come on, man. I mean, your whole thing is chicken. Um, and you recall their advert their brand I can't their brand their that one marketing project or strategy they had. It said if you're not happy, come back. We give you everything you bought for free, whatever again, because there was a taste. It was they made it fancy. It was like if you're not happy with the taste, well, we'll make sure that you are happy. Come on, because the thing is just before that, the chicken was really off and it was unpleasant to eat and whatever it was. It drove them to make like a radical decision quickly because it doesn't matter how long a legacy a service or company or shop, whatever it is, has been around. Man, if you not, why would I keep coming back even if I got sick once? You would be put off a particular brand anyway, right? Um, we just get back to the lesson, right? So, three, define the differences. Most successful products or stores have established a very definite, um, easily explained and easily recognized position in the marketplace by writing down crucial the differences between competitions. You can arrive at a focal point for a commercial. After all, sometimes it's the little differences that can obviously make a person decide, I'm going to choose this bank or I'm going to choose that bank, for example, and you know that as well. Could be an interest rate, it could be whatever it is that you can even okay, you can do this. I'm saying even if you don't belong to, for example, I think it's F&B or whatever, but you can go change your passport there or whatever. Like that's a good service, to have if you are going to pay a little bit more money instead of braving the lines and the trouble that you're going to have at home affairs, uh, etc., etc. Right. Okay. So hopefully, I do think hopefully by now with these many different types of examples, you really do get it. Like, I mean, also, and here's my other thing. Like you live everyday life, so you know that if you just pay a little bit more attention, because you are a participant in life, excuse me, you will know how to do this. I'm saying not fully because I mean it's still craft and it's still structure and it's still this, but you know exactly why the state of mind, the right state of mind, and the approach is super important to be able to do this effectively. Okay, getting it all together. Number one, be straightforward, right? Sometimes the simplest approach works the best. In other words, telling someone exactly what they need to know from, I'm saying, from what the customer wants and the client need. No, the client, sorry, wants and the customer will need, right? Is the best way of writing copy and getting the advert done. Just tell them like a new store opening, it's happening on this day. You're going to get these specials. Yeah, make sure that you get down there. Goodbye, finished, done. Again, I have changed my mind about creativity within the advertising space because it's just silly. Like you can be creative if the need calls for it. So for example, like selling a car, a brand new car that costs you 500,000 to go buy. I'm sorry, you're not going to go buy it by hearing a simple plain ad that tells you, oh, it's featuring this or that, whatever. No one cares. No one cares. It's cost 500,000. So in terms of that, you have to be more creative and the way that you manipulate the message to manipulate like some kind of attraction from a potential customer that does like a high-end or like automobile brand or whatever it is, right? Car brand, and is looking to buy, right? And I say that, yeah, that was a bit of sarcasm, but because who spent 500,000 on a car anyway? There are many people that do it. All right. So straightforward. Music, the music obviously has to match the mood. Like if you're trying to be romantic, don't play techno music. That makes again, it's just silly. Excuse me. Right. The use of music in commercials can be powerful. since music even evokes or can evoke an emotional response and create a positive feeling that transfers to the product or services. Music can also obviously be used to tie together a mixed media campaign, TV or internet, while aiding recall. Music also means that jingles also means jingles, and when doing it right, jingles can cut through the clutter and stick in the person's mind for years. As we said before, when I said to you, chicka chickas, well, it was just up your street, right? You were too young to note that one, right? And I'm quite sure you say, "Yeah, I'm so glad I wasn't around for that." It sounds silly, but it worked, right? Note, remember that copyrighted music that plays on your station may not be used for a recorded commercial. It is a problem because you're inadvertently the product, the company is making money using that song. And when you have to obviously question yourself, not question yourself, and just question the fact that, like, when you do hear a song that is popular being used in a commercial, they have to pay a lot of money to that particular person, the producer, the label, the musician, I'm not sure, right? To be able to actually link the two together. It was quite popular a long time ago to be able to use that like that approach, but became a bit like redundant again, just because you could save so much more money without having to use a famous song to sell or to link in with that kind of subliminal messaging of what the brand is all about. Anyway, a slice for life, the slice of life approach allows the audience to relate personally to the commercial elements, and overhearing bits of real life conversation between lovers, spouses, parents, neighbors, make the potential customers an active, albeit silent participant instead of just a passive listener. I just quickly need to pause this so I can just blow my nose and we can all not have to hear that. Okay. Thanks for that. Just needed to really blow my nose. Okay. All right, let's get to slide number 12. Yeah. Okay. So, step four, getting it all together. If the actors in the spot strike a response chord, the listener is much more apt to be open to the client's offering. So, in other words, persuasive delivery, right, is the biggest thing. That's why we need to make sure that we choose the right voice over artist for the right commercial, for the right audience. And yes, sure. I mean, you have to get a good. You always have to get a good voiceover artist. That's what you must aspire to. But the thing is that if you are speaking to kids, sometimes don't hire a kid to be the voiceover artist, but rather someone like a woman or a man with a warm voice that can appeal to kids, or maybe it should be a famous like character or whatever it is that would appeal to kids. Now, kids aren't decision makers. I do understand that, but if they do hear on the radio like this might be something very cool, they recognize that voice very quickly. They would go. There's a lot of kids, a lot of stars overseas that do big concerts for just kids or whatever. I haven't really seen it here. I think they called the Muggles or something in Australia. Oof, my word, the kids go crazy for them. Anyway, but whatever they called, obviously, clearly, I'm not a fan. But you understand like that delivery of those also those performers super rich because of the fact that they are really good with kids and they sing kids songs and this and that, and there's a whole hoot and toot about it. Anyway, yeah. So again, picking the right person, man. Just if you're speaking to old people, you don't have to get a really old person to do. It's not always like that, right? So you're doing like a retirement fund or whatever it is. You can get but just get an older person. You can't get a 20 something year old to speak to a large, like let's say a more mature audience. Okay, all right. All right, so humor engages the listener only when it is like there's a time and a place for that. You don't always have to be funny. In fact, like it's more unlikely that you have to be funny in a commercial. It works a lot better with let's say TV advertising, some more visual stuff that you might see on YouTube slash DSTV, etc., and your SABCs. But like if humor is difficult to translate quite easily, through the I'm saying the audio platform, right? Or medium. Okay. All right. Okay. So also, what's funny to you may not work out for your target audience. Okay, the reason for questioning twice or three times why it is that you feel that humor might be the right approach to use in this particular advert, right? Okay, so try stick with universal situations that revolve around family or intimate relationships that work better because their problems or these problems have the same human elements across a demographic, right? And don't be afraid to exaggerate for comic effect. Why not? You know, your mom does this, you know, whatever it is, your boyfriend does this, whatever, right? A precise true life retelling may not be that funny, but exaggerations might actually help someone relate better to the situation and relate quicker to the product. Testimonials work, they do, but often these days we become skeptical of a testimonial, like someone's voice saying, "Oh, I used this product and I'm so much happier." Yeah, but you could also be an actor, or you could be part of like that company's like senior management or whatever it is. We don't know that you're real or that you are true. The truth, the only way that you would find testimonials being somewhat reliable are, for example, in websites, you know, where they are doing particular ratings and where they are, again, they're giving feedback on certain products. You've seen that on the Google store specifically, where you're looking for, well, a good app to download, but also you've experienced exactly what I'm saying to you, you know that that a lot of that is premeditated. They will get someone else to go and register an account and go write something nice as well. It's manipulative. It's obviously manipulative, and I personally feel that testimonials have run they've run their course and are not effective. Right. Okay. It's every writer's nightmare and every so overcoming sorry writer's block is five, right? Okay, so it's every writer's nightmare and every deadline's biggest obstacle when the copywriter is is stuck, right? They're stuck. So go ahead and help yourself by using the internet to be able to maybe construct some kind of springboard for you to be able to go and feel inspired. Once again, go back to the drawing board, look at your client, look at what you've obviously discussed, look at go observe the customers, observe some of the shops, observe the product, etc., and see what might inspire you to go and write out some ideas that could be really cool, right? All right. So the commercial could possibly write itself once you are done. However, for those times when you can't, obviously just get it off the ground. Jeffrey Hedquist from Hedquist Productions offers these tips and these tricks. Right, all right. So sound effects will obviously help you. It'll stimulate you to be able to feel like, oh, okay, maybe it should go this way, or this adds a little bit more life and maybe the correct type of atmosphere or ambience that I want to use to tell my story, right? Randomly choosing sound effects from the production library and then give yourself 2 minutes to write a commercial for your client using that effect. If even if it doesn't seem appropriate, you're brainstorming and you're getting your creative juices going, right? So try another and then do it again. How about limber up your imagination and make connections between ideas that might not seem related at first, right? So our creative minds like to be kind of like pushed and pulled and tugged at, right? For them to react really well. I'm saying to in obviously in a creative manner. So go and provoke your creative mind. Go provoke it. That's what it always wants. It wants to be kind of like sparked in any kind of way, jump started, right? So if you don't have a commercial that is gold at this point, obviously maybe purposely choose a sound effect that would not normally be associated with the advertiser. For example, if a client is selling office products, don't get the keyboards clicking or the copy machines humming. Try something like a fire engine or a baby crying, and it might stimulate you to think of a little bit of an out the box, situation. Like say, like a baby crying incessantly could be just as worrisome as this sound. And then you play like a broken copy machine or whatever it is, and or the sound of your boss shouting at you because they don't know where your reports are. And so that's quite a nice idea. All right, so then work with within a 2 minute deadline using that sound effect and moving on. Right. So once again, if your mind will stretch, excuse me, to connect those two, so di disparate, right, disparate parts um, of the disparate. So I'm just going to use those two separate, right? That's too far, like high end, right? So parts of the equation and start stringing words and ideas together in the bridge that's going to gap, and that I'm sure you can just see with the example that I gave you, right? So if you work at it, a commercial will emerge, usually built around an analogy or a metaphor. For example, like the sound of a baby crying can represent the way that we all turn into out of control babies when the office equipment doesn't work. I literally, okay, my idea was better. Anyway, the fire engine could be an example of what it's like when emergencies arise at the office. Sound effects can quickly communicate and reinforce problems and solutions, right? For your audience. Okay, so silence is gold, so don't overlook the power of like dramatic silence, okay? And silence can grab your attention and serve as powerful contrasts to bombastic sound effects. And it can also be used to highlight solutions or relieve tension. I'm nearly done. I'm actually done there. So I am actually going to just quickly stop there and then I'll do a part two in just a moment. Okay, and within obviously the part two, I will include the video. So I'm just going to stop it over there. And then we'll continue in part